ladies and gents, with a YouTube certified channel, over 700,000 subscribers, 1,150 videos uploaded, I have pleasure in introducing on Dubious Engineering the fantastic, our mate, your mate, my mate Vince.
Lovely introduction. Cheers, Howard. Thanks a lot for having me on here.
Oh, it's very kind of you to come and join us. Really appreciate it. I'm quite awestruck, mate. So you've been making YouTube HowTo and FixIt videos for over 7 years, and when I look at some of your early videos, there's quite a lot of stuff in there that involves Cat5 cables, ADSL, RJ45 connectors, and that kind of stuff. And I remember the days of communications engineering, and that is that your background?
It is, yeah. So I used to be a BT engineer, so a customer service engineer. So climbing up the poles, down in the holes, doing all the wires,
Wow.
running the cables from the poles to houses. So basically, you see the green boxes on the street around the place. We did everything from the green box right into the customer's house. So years and years ago, everybody would have their own job. So you'd have somebody that would do the underground stuff, somebody that would do the overhead stuff. But as of late, basically engineers pretty much do everything. And towards the end of it, we were even doing some of the exchange work as well. So really, we're doing everything from the exchange right the way into the customer's house.
Wow.
So yeah, that was I don't know when I started, think about 2000. And I think I did it for a good 8 or 9 years.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it. It was good. It was good fun. You were outside. There was a bit of pressure because you'd get your jobs. The jobs would get downloaded to you in the morning, and then you'd have to work your way through them. But really, you were kind of left on your own, which is good. So you could just get on with it. It's just that sometimes rules would come in from above, and even the managers didn't agree with them, but it came from above that. And then we'd have to implement them. And it was things like, I don't know, like charging customers extortionate amounts for things that, in my opinion, seem to be a bit of a grey area. So I loved the job, but there was other parts of the job that I didn't love. But we had great fun, like when you were working with other engineers and stuff. Then even a nightmare job became a laugh because it was just, you'd have to run a wire across like a really busy road with buses going up and down. And you'd be like, you're not allowed to stop the traffic. How do you do this? And you'd be just laughing at how bad the job was, and yet you've got to do it. So yeah, there was a lot of fun times, and I wouldn't change it. But at the same time, I don't know if I could go back to doing it. Now that I've had a taste of other stuff, I don't know if I could go back. But yeah, so what happened was with BT, and then I thought to myself after about 8 years or so, I wouldn't mind doing this myself. So I set myself up as Mr. Telephone with a little Ford Escort van, got its sign written and stuff. And then I advertised myself, and then I would go out and I would fix internal faults, because BT used to charge £120 call out and £100 an hour. And that was a lot. So I charged 30 quid call out and 30 quid an hour. And then I'd be over the moon, like 60 quid for 1 hour's work, and then 2 hours work, 90 quid. You only need to do a couple of jobs a day. But in reality, the problem was, living where I live, one job would be in North London, the next job would be in South London. The next job you'd be heading towards Luton. So sometimes if a customer wasn't in, or they say they'd be in, or they didn't make it back in time, or if you couldn't do the job for a reason, let's say now, if the fault was outside, I weren't allowed to work on a BT network when I'd left BT. So then I used to charge, I think it was the 30 quid for the call out. And I've travelled all the way to South London, used all the diesel, could have taken an hour and a half travelling for 30 quid. Then my next job's in North London. And sometimes I'd be like, half the day be gone, and the customer wouldn't be in, and I wouldn't be able to charge them, or I'd have 30 quid. So in reality, it probably wasn't. I can sort of see why BT had to charge so much, because money quickly disappears. As well as that, with the yellow pages, my bill with them was about £3 a year, advertising in order to print their pages, because that's what we did back then. So while I was doing that, I started to sell the products on eBay, because at the time, if you went into like the B&Q, the high street types, Woolworths, those sort of shops, the stuff they were selling was poor quality. It wasn't like BT standard. So I would get the same stuff that BT would get, just without the BT logos. And then I buy in bulk, and then I would break it down into smaller kits, and I used to sell them on eBay. So if you wanted to run an external extension, rather than running some dodgy internal wire, you could use proper external cable, but you wouldn't have to buy a drum of 350 meters. I would cut it down into 10 meters or 20 meters and put it together in a kit with everything you need. So I started doing them. And then I thought, oh, I quite like this because you're not dealing with customers face to face. You don't have to drive. You're just working from home.
You're not dealing with Mr. Angry.
Exactly. Yeah. People saying, I want the cable, I want the socket over there, but I don't want any wires showing. And they're in a terrace house, like flooring all the way throughout, and there's literally no way to get any cable anywhere apart from run it along the skirting board. So I started selling on eBay. And I did that for quite a few years. But when I started, it was only a handful of us doing it. And by the end, there was like pages of people selling telecom stuff. Yeah. So I had to kind of work out a way to keep myself in business. So then I was thinking for a while of doing YouTube videos as tutorials of the stuff that I was selling. And so that's how I started on YouTube. It wasn't through it wasn't because I wanted to be a YouTuber. I fell into it because I wanted to sell more product because the business was slowly dying, just like everybody else's business on eBay. And also, obviously, everything was going wireless and stuff. So the wired stuff wasn't needed as much.
Yeah, technology was moving on.
Moving on. Yeah. So so I started to do tutorials, and it really worked because I think I was one of the first. I think I was really the first or only one to do UK telecom tutorials. And as it turns out, since I've done them, I've had even like BT people contact me to say, oh, when I was doing my training, I watched all your videos, and even BT trainers saying, yeah, we tell people to watch your videos because what I told them, I don't know if it's still relevant now, but certainly at the time, it was completely current. And sometimes it's easier because you can watch a video and pause it and watch it back a few times rather than an instructor telling you something. It might not always sink in. So, so that was it. And from a customer's point of view, they wanted the exact product that I had. So even though I might have been 50p more than someone else, they didn't want to take that risk. They wanted to see the same one as the video. So it worked well. So that's how I ended up on YouTube. And then I realized that, hold on, they actually, because back then you didn't need any amount of subscribers or view hours to get monetized. It was just straight away you could monetize your videos. And it was like, wow, a few pennies are kind of rolling in for this video that I did for eBay. And it just kind of snowballed from there.
Yeah, fantastic. So that was a thing that sort of motivated you, I suppose, to sort of get into YouTube. And then things clearly, again, as we were saying earlier, things have changed quite a lot on YouTube, and certainly you've diversified your skill set quite a lot. Because your more popular videos are games console fixing and that kind of stuff. So what's been? I mean, clearly that's something that's very interesting to a lot of people. Can I buy something on eBay? Can I fix it myself? And not have to spend 300 quid when I could spend 50 quid or 100 quid. What's been the most challenging a games console that you've ended up fixing?
Do you know what? I find pretty much all of them challenging because I'm learning this as I go along. I suppose the one that sticks in my mind was I called it the PlayStation 4 with numerous faults. So I bought it from eBay, and it was a classic kind of eBay buy where it's not as described, but a lot of them tend to be that way. So if you're buying something quite antique on eBay, all that seems to be fine. For some reason, when it comes to gaming stuff, a lot of the time you do seem, maybe not on the older ones, but especially current consoles, you do seem to pick up a lot of junk, and it's never obviously advertised that way. But it was a PlayStation 4, and it was advertised as no signal on the TV. So I thought, well, it might be maybe a HDMI port or something. And then, of course, it arrived. There was no hard drive. Most of the screws were missing.
Someone had a go at it then. Yeah.
The cables were missing. The disk drive didn't work. What else was it? Yeah, disk drive didn't work. No output on the TV. Hard drive was missing. Screws were missing. And numerous cables and stuff were missing. And I thought at myself at the beginning, I don't know if I can be bothered to go through with this, because I was expecting maybe just the HDMI port or the chip feeding the port. But you know what? It turned out to be one of I thoroughly enjoyed the video at the end, because bit by bit, I just did one thing at a time. And yes, the video is 1 hour long, but I think people enjoyed it because it was a huge challenge to begin with. And at the end, it was working perfectly. So just by doing it little bit by bit, tackling each problem at a time. And I think people quite like that, because sometimes problems can seem massive when you look at them as a whole, but if you just chip away at them bit by bit, you can do quite a lot of things.
That is very good advice there. I absolutely commend that. That's something that I sometimes I open something up and I just think, oh, how am I going to fix this one?
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. You break it into sizable chunks, more manageable pieces. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I guess that sort of leads nicely on to my next question, which is, do you prefer fixing, the electronics side of things, or do you prefer fixing the mechanical side of things? Are you an electronics guy, or are you a mechanical guy? I know there's sort of an essential crossover that has to happen when you're fixing stuff, but
yeah. That is a great question. See, growing up, I've got no training in any of this, but I kind of I restored an MGB GT when I was younger. The first car I had was a Mini, which was like not on the road. So I think mechanical, because for me anyway, you can kind of see the problem. It's easier for me. It's easier to work out a mechanical problem.
Yeah.
Because with an electrical thing, because I don't understand what half the components do, it's very hard for me to see the problem. But when you're looking at, I don't know, something wind up, you can normally see that a cog is misaligned, or there's a tooth missing, or something like that. It's more obvious. But I think when it comes to the actual fixing, mechanical stuff can be really hard to do the fix, even though you can see it. But with electrical stuff, this is where it's amazing, and this is what I love. So I remember, I've always enjoyed fixing things, always have that. Even as a kid, all I ever did was take things apart to see how they work. And my mum always used to say, don't take it apart and break it, because inevitably, sometimes you would take things apart and they wouldn't go back together.
Never get them back together again.
No. But once you've had your fun with playing with that toy, I always wanted to see how it works. Always wanted to see how it works. And back to the eBay thing quickly, my brother was also doing something similar, just as a bit of a part-time job, just to get a bit of extra money in. And I used to sell all different weird adapters and stuff. And one of his neighbours was a Romanian guy who used to repair electronics. And I remember him saying to my brother, if you ever want anything fixed, he said, whole TV, break, one tiny component. And I remember thinking I would love to be able to do that. I remember, and this wasn't that long ago, 10 years ago, and I was thinking I would love to be able to do that. And that's what's amazing, when you have something electronic and the whole thing fails from just one tiny capacitor. And I had that with a gaming laptop recently, a nice gaming laptop. The whole thing didn't work just from, something half the size of a grain of rice, a capacitor that had shorted. Now that, to me, when you find out, that feeling's hard to beat.
Yeah, absolute satisfaction.
Yes, yeah. So I think, so I don't know which one I prefer. I think I like a mix, but mechanical is easier to spot. But I think electronic, once you can find it, it's great, because normally the components and stuff are really cheap.
Yes, yeah, it's true enough. I think you absolutely hit the nail on the head there. And I hadn't thought about it like that, actually. I need an oscilloscope to be able to see, electrical signals and figure out what's going on, or a multimeter or whatever it is. You're sort of guessing at what might be broken in a piece of electronics. Whereas with mechanics, you can easily see it, but mechanics can be a bit of a pain in the bum to actually sort of bend them back into shape, or weld them back together, or whatever you've got to do to try and fix it. Absolutely.
Yeah. I think with the electronics, it's more, for me anyway, trial and error. So that's why I always love having a second version of the thing I'm trying to fix to get measurements with. But obviously, that's my lack of skill. Somebody else would be able to pinpoint the problem straight away not straight away, but just with one item. But with me, if I've got two items and you can swap parts around, then I'm a lot more confident, because then at least you've honed down on what board the problem is.
Yes.
So you can spend a lot of time on that, taking measurements and stuff.
Absolutely. Now, you have quite a nice collection of retro kit at home. In fact, you've got a beautiful boombox TV. I can't remember what year it is, but it's quite an old school boombox TV.
1984, I think that one is.
That's like, I was 9 years old then.
Right.
And And you've also got, you know, Nintendo Game Boys, a Casio musical calculator. There's a lot of stuff. A TOMY robot. There's so much stuff that sort of, you know, hits really close to my heart. What's your favourite bit of retro kit and why?
Yeah, well, do you know, I've got some bits down here, and it's strange. It's some things I really like and I like to fix, but I think a lot of it goes back to, if I enjoyed the fix, I enjoy the product more. So if it was just corroded batteries, then I might not like the product as much. So I've got a few down here that I like. Now, believe it or not, I really enjoyed, although I don't think they were that popular, I really enjoyed
the Wombles of Wimbledon.
the ball-trick toy. So I don't know what era this is. I would say maybe 70s, but
I'm your very first Womble friend.
it doesn't even sound like the Wombles.
Womble up your toys when you finish playing.
But there's something nice about it. Womble up your toys when you finish playing. There's something nice about the inside of that there's no electronics. There's just a pull cord, a tiny little record player in there. The sound and everything is generated just, you know, with vibration and amplified. There's something nice about that. So that's one of them. The other one, which again wasn't massively popular on YouTube, but the ones who watched it really did like it, is this one here, the electric derby. Now, I think I don't really know the age of this. People were hazarding a guess around 1950s or something, or 60s, but it's very early. The construction and everything of it is very early, and it's simple, but there's something really charming about it. So basically, you know, you're supposed to place your bets, and then you've got this here. So you turn it on, and it's just lovely with the little incandescent lights, and you spin it, and you see they will light up, and depending on where it lands with the post here, the light will light up. Now, very simple on the inside, but yet there was a few challenging bits. For example, you had to get the horse lined up with here. So, for example, now you can see that when 1 goes past it, it's lit up 1, but then the next number will be 4. I don't know if it's coming up. So you have to get it where the nose just goes past it, and it's 4. Now, when I fixed it to begin with, there was times when both lights were on, and I thought, well, that was a fault. So I started to narrow down the contacts on the inside, because it just fits. It's just like a little contact here that spins. It's probably really hard to see. But it turns out that, so I narrowed down the inside bit there, but it turns out that wasn't a fault. It was designed like that. Or in my opinion, it wasn't designed like that. They made the instructions to suit. So they said that if both lights are on, it's like a dead heat. And if no lights are on, it's a no-win race. So obviously they adapted the instructions to suit how it turned out. But there was something really nice about that one there, because it's so simple. And just the way the lights light up, it's just nice. The switch and everything is just lovely. So that is probably one of my favourites. And things like the Game & Watch are always nice. The little Nintendo Game & Watch, they're nice. But this one here was done quite recently, and I love this one here, the little Roberts radio. It's just with the wood at the side and stuff. Things like that I like. So they're all varied things, but they're all, they're all nice in their own right. Do you know what I mean?
We, as a kid, my family had a Roberts RSR 747 or something like that. I've probably got the code wrong, but yeah. But what an absolutely fantastic little radio. And my dad, you know, he would use it when he's painting rooms. I mean, the thing was just covered in, it was like a painter's radio. Excuse the pun. But yeah, it was, absolutely. The what you did to the Derby machine is actually you improved the original design of the machine.
I think so, yes, because I suppose when they were making it, maybe it would have taken too much setup to make it perfect. And I have made it, well, people might not think it looks perfect, but yeah, it works, I think, how it should have been intended to work. But it's just interesting because there was no instructions, and it was only after the video got released, somebody found the instructions somewhere, told me about them, and I was like, oh, it all makes sense now. And I probably would have left it if I knew that's how it was originally intended. But it's still nice that it works better now.
Absolutely. And the battery inside there, that looks like one of the old flash lamp batteries that's got the leaf springs on it.
Exactly,
the copper sort of leaf springs as opposed to coily springs.
That's right. You're exactly right. Yes. Yeah. So I was I knew, I could tell by the shape of the compartment that the battery wasn't sort of standard. But when I had a look online, when I seen that, I was like, yes, and I remember that because in BT we used to have the little headlights on our.
Yep. For when you're down, when you're underground or in the box.
Yeah, you had the battery at the back, and it was the same batteries that were used for them. So as soon as I seen it, I was like, oh yeah, I know those batteries. But yeah, it's because I had one ages ago that was a Triang toy train, and the controller unit for that took batteries, and I couldn't find any batteries to fit it, so I had to kind of bodge up the controller to make it fit a more modern, forget what they're called now, but you know the batteries that you put in the big lanterns, they're kind of massive square ones.
Yes, with the double springs on the top of them. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I can't remember the name, but it's like a PP3 or a PP9 or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what's great, because for me, it's a mystery until I release the video. And then somebody who's probably 30 years older than me would be like, oh, Vince, this is the battery. It was made by Everready. And then he sends like some link to it. And I'm like, oh, it has got one dead in the middle and then one to the side. And it all makes sense.
Yeah.
So I love it then. And that's the great thing. So many things I'm confused about when I do the video. But collectively, all the answers are there once the video is released, because the people who watch the videos, a lot of them know their stuff, but they might not know everything about everything, but they might know about reel-to-reel players. Somebody else might know about PlayStation 4s. And together, if you read the sort of the comments underneath, all the mysteries are normally solved, which is great.
And that is actually the great thing about your channel is, you know, over 1,155 videos, but it's not all just, you know, fixing a PlayStation or fixing a Switch. You know, you do the whole spectrum, which is fantastic to see. There's a lot of really good stuff in there.
See, I would like to think it means it's more entertaining for the viewer, but also from my point of view, like the Nintendo Switch videos always got a lot of views because they're going to get a lot of views.
Yeah,
but
popular.
If on doing them, because I was starting to get better because I was nicknamed the Switch Killer, but by the end I was getting better. I think I had more fixes than failures. But if I kept on doing them, although I would have got better and better, for me, I would get bored of doing the same thing over and over again. Because I don't do it for a living as to make money for the fix. I make the money from the video views.
Yes.
So yes, I suppose if you were doing it for a living, then you would want to do one product like MacBooks and get really good at them, and then you probably could, you know, make a wage from it. But you see, for me, it would be boring. And I think also from a viewing point of view, it's nice to see other items. Like, for example, the Roberts Radio. I'm sure there are videos on them, but there's not going to be a huge amount of videos. While with the Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 4, you know there's going to be quite a few videos out there. While this here, I don't even think there's any info on it online at all, and there's no video on that. And I think maybe that's what people like, but not mass market. So you're never going to make a living over, you know, doing videos like that, because you see it hasn't got the wider appeal. But for the ones who are into it, they really enjoy it.
Yeah, fantastic. So more recently, you've started a new series in your repertoire, let's say, and that is other fixers. And what's magnificent, and I can't say thank you enough, is you've invited other people, other YouTubers that enjoy doing what we enjoy doing. You've invited to showcase their fixes on your channel, and that is absolutely magnificent. Because you're sort of sharing the love, you're sharing your viewers' experience with other people, which is a really nice thing. Do you have plans to continue to do that with more people going forwards, or do you have other future plans for the channel? Where is My Mate Vince going in the future?
Sure. Well, the YouTube fixers, I've had that idea for over a year now. But you see, I didn't want to ask people to do a video just for me, because I'm the one making the money off it, not the actual person creating the content. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to take people's existing videos, because there's some really good channels out there that may not necessarily have a lot of views, because sometimes it can be a bit of luck that you'll have one popular video and then that will draw people in to watch other ones. So there's some channels out there, they might only have a few hundred subscribers, but they might be really good.
Yeah.
And what I wanted to do was for example, the video might be an hour long. Now, I know I have long videos, but not everybody has time to watch an hour-long video, because it's hard. You know, you've got family, work, stuff. You know, you might not have the time to watch that. So I wanted to take existing content and then chop it down to a shorter amount with me doing voiceovers. And then I thought, well, the content creator is going to lose nothing because that content's already out there. And then I thought it would gain them a bit of exposure. And also for me, it would be a nice additional series to have running on the channel along with other stuff. But then when I started to look into it more, unfortunately, YouTube have this duplicate video thing. And you see, I've got a feeling that although I could argue that I'm adding value and they would let me do that, it would just get flagged on every single video I do. If I was, you know, like showing maybe 3 creators, there's a chance then that it's going to be flagged on every single video. And I just can't have that headache, especially when I do this full time. I need this. This is my job.
Yeah.
So then I kind of forgot about it for quite a few months, but it was always there. And I was thinking, how can I do it? And then I thought, you know what? I'll just ask creators, you know, I'll make it clear that, yes, I'm monetizing this. I can understand if you don't want to be involved, but if you do want to be involved, maybe if it's popular, people might see your channel and then it might be beneficial. And out of everybody I asked, I think so far there's only been one that's, I don't mean not keen, just one that didn't really give me an answer, but obviously, you know, not keen. But yeah, everybody seems to have been really keen, which is fantastic. And the viewers, if you look at the thumbs up on the videos, those videos, although they haven't got a huge amount of views, there's more thumbs up, like they're about 10% thumbs up. So if like 20,000 people watch, there's 2,000 thumbs up. That's much higher than any of my videos. My videos are normally like less than 5% thumbs up. So that says to me that people are definitely enjoying them.
Okay,
so
good.
If YouTube, the problem is whether or not YouTube will push it any further. And if they push it further, fantastic. I'd love to do like a second series. I'd love to keep going, because the more popular it gets, then you see more people would be interested in going on it, and also bigger channels as well, because then they might have a bit to gain by coming on as well. My problem is, looking at the stats so far, I'm not sure whether YouTube are going to push this or not, because it's not something people are going to search for. You know, for example, like a Nintendo Switch fix, you know, if I say fixing the water damage Nintendo Switch, X amount of people each day is Googling that because they've dropped their Switch down the toilet or in the bath. So you're always going to have a certain amount of views. But the YouTube fixes Series 1, Episode 2, who's Googling that? Who's searching that? Nobody. So it's only if YouTube push it, it will be a success. So right now, I'm not sure that the views are kind of average, but I don't know now whether it's going to keep going or just flatline. So I would love to keep doing it, but it has to be worthwhile for everybody to do it. Because, for example, I don't want to get 3 people to do a video for me and for it to get 4,000 views, and then they're not going to get any probably subscribers out of that, and then it's a kind of waste of time for everybody.
Yeah, but I think though what the flip coin to this though, Vince, is for me when I produced my video for you, it's like,
by the way, that was a lovely. The way you've edited that and filmed that was a really good video.
Thank you very much, very kind. But it's like getting an opportunity to perform for the BBC or for the Royal Variety, you know, because you have such a large audience. It really sort of makes it makes it worthwhile, and actually it's a really uplifting experience. I've got to admit that there have been a couple of points during my more recent sort of YouTube career where I'm looking at my stats and I'm just thinking, well, clearly, you know, I'm not doing what Google or what YouTube really need me to do. I'm not finding those popular subjects. I'm doing what I enjoy doing. I'm enjoying my hobby, but I'm just not getting the exposure because I'm not targeting those popular subjects, and I'm not coming up in the search listings and the rankings. So so I might have to sort of rethink my strategy a little bit going forwards. But to my point really, Vince, is to get the opportunity to come on such a large channel like yours and put my face out there, and to have the support of Neil and my mate Jack who made the music for the video as well. You know, it's just magnificent. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, it was. Do you know what? When I look back at the videos, I personally really like them because obviously I have to watch back the video when I've edited it. So not only do you know the outcome, you've then edited it for like half a day or more, and then you've got to watch it back. But every time I watch it back, I honestly really like them. I think that series should be a runaway success.
Yeah.
But often I think that, and then it fails, and then I think a video's rubbish. I think, oh, do I put it out there? And I've had it for 3 months. I think I can't put this out there. I put it out there, and it gets 50,000 views in 2 days, and people are loving it. And I'm thinking, what? So I don't really know if I've got my finger on a pulse of what is good and what's not good. But the YouTube fixes, in my opinion, I can't see what people wouldn't like about it. 3 different fixes in a half-an-hour episode. I don't know. It should be a winner.
It's educational. It's fun. It's my mate Vince, and it's others. It's fantastic. It's great. Yeah.
But going forward, I have thought of another idea which I'd quite like to do, but it would involve more work. But I think it would be fun. So if I was to, because I've always been into classic cars, but well, I say always. When I was younger, yes, because the option was like have a Ford Fiesta or get something interesting. And because classic car insurance and everything was really cheap, you could get like an MG BGT or something like that for less than what they would charge you for a Fiesta. And I've been thinking for a long time, like, I'd love a classic car again. So what would be fun would be if I was to get some sort of classic car and I could do like Vince visits, and it could be like Vince visits Howard, Dubious engineering, Vince visits, and then I could go up
most welcome.
Cover the country with a boot full of junk from eBay, and then you could sit down and we could be like, Howard, choose what you want to fix, and then we could fix something together.
Yeah.
And like just 2 minds working on something. I think that would be quite fun, even if it was a failure on the fix. The very fact of 2 minds on it, how different people think and stuff, having a bit of a chat at the time, having a bit of a beer or something.
Exactly. I was thinking table out in the back garden, sunny day, beer, yeah, all of that. Absolutely. That would be brilliant. Yeah.
Could be a bit of a winner.
That sounds great.
It would involve, see, at the moment it's quite easy to get something off eBay, unbox it on your blue mat and try to fix it. Obviously, this would take a lot more planning because you'd have to travel, you'd have to, book a hotel somewhere. But again, I think that sort of content would be fun. I think it would.
Yeah. And I think it would as well. I absolutely think it would as well. Fantastic. Yeah. Well, there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, the potential future of the My Mate Vince channel. We'll see what happens going forward. Vince, thank you so very much for coming and joining us on Dubious Engineering. I mean, really, it's an absolute honor and an absolute pleasure. Clearly, if you're one of my subscribers and you don't know Vince, please get on and subscribe to Vince's channel. He's got so much really good content out there, well worth checking out, mate. I wish I could shake your hand virtually, but
a virtual high five.
A virtual high five. Yeah. Thanks again, mate. Take care. Have a fabulous.
Thanks a lot for having me on. It's been a real pleasure.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Cheers and beers. Take care. Bye for now. Bye bye.